money after bad.
Okay.
Okay? So let's look.
And that's part of the problem too, in reference to water quality, because that in itself, just by having water standing there, is treating the water. Now, when you open that and drain it into the Spruce Creek, then if you don't retain it somewhere and allow it to have that water quality before it goes to Spruce Creek, it's just going to
Go right into the creek.
go right into a creek.
Right.
You're exporting pollutants that aren't going there now because they're landlocked.
This is the one that I was talking about that Ken Parker and I walked. And when we came through here right after the storms, that water was almost to the top, but it wasn't going anywhere.
See, that's what I don't get. This is a real serious big ditch, and when the city came in and said it's not functioning very well, it's not getting it done because somebody's thrown driveways across it and blocked it. It's like, my God, if that thing was really much of a ditch, those would have blown those driveways out a long time ago.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
And I don't
think it did
understand
what
why.
it was supposed
So
to.
it must not
But you-
convey it much, I guess.
You can see it's dry right now.
That's what I'm thinking. It may not convey except
Dennis,
under real
Dennis,
unusual
you,
conditions.
you came down here and looked at this
After the 04 hurricane.
after the, okay.
Mhm.
Had they been pumping water into this? Because they pumped water into this ditch here
Could be.
after the big rain,
Mhm.
the recent big rain, and they pumped water
Yeah,
in.
they took that down here and then they had pumps running it
pumping
on
it
out.
directly
Yeah, no,
into the
that
creek.
was
Because
a
I just
different
wonder
storm.
if they had during the hurricanes, were they pumping water and you weren't aware of it?
No, we were not at that time because
It's-
most of Cambridge Basin was underwater at the time.
Mhm.
It had nowhere
and,
to go.
and you didn't have that other drainage.
But it
Right.
sounds like to me, if during the hurricanes and a day after the hurricanes, when the water would have been one of the closest to its height, this was full, but it wasn't overflowing the road. It sounds like that ditch was doing what it was supposed to. That contained the water, it had a place to go, and it let it
No,
settle.
there was flooding in these areas. Okay, what the premise is that if this was continuing to convey the water on out the way that it had originally, and my understanding is that this may very well have been dug by the mosquito control people. Okay, I don't know that for a fact, but that's been brought up at one point. If it conveyed the water on out to the creek as it had originally, the water would not have come over the banks and flooded these areas because it would have continued on out instead of standing. And that was what was happening when I saw it. The water was absolutely not going anywhere. It was up to the tops of the banks, and there was water in, I don't remember what this particular one was, but the street down here a little ways was still literally flooded. Now, the yards, the water wasn't up into the houses or into the yards at that point, but the road itself was still partially underwater.
And that was before all the work at Cambridge Basin.
Right,
correct?
right.
So that would have been coming into here also. Is that right?
Yeah, at that point, yeah. Right.
Suppose the water was
well-
backing up and going out another way, that way.
Well, no, it wasn't going anywhere. It was sitting mostly.
I mean, it wasn't
There-
pulling here and backing up and finding another way out. I know there's something farther up the road. There's something that goes on that side.
Right, there's a canal that goes under Brighton and over to Nova Road, and that ditch is now part of the canal that goes over into the retention area then,
The long retention area along there.
And that was improved after the storm.
after the 04 storms, correct.
So the improvement might have taken care of a portion of this problem.
It took care of a lot of what was happening down there, okay? But what happened is in May, when we had the big event, and we got 30 inches of rain here, okay? Where are we?
Spruce Creek Road?
Spruce Creek Estates is right there.
Yes.
That's their entrance. All of that was underwater.
And that's
okay.
a low spot in the road.
Yeah, it's a low spot in the road, and absolutely, you know. But when we got that event, we found that even though we had corrected most of the Cambridge Basin problem, most of it was all perfectly dry. It did a great job. But we still had a problem here, and we got citizens that are complaining they can't drive through their neighborhood. And I know,
compact cars.
I know. Okay. Well, yeah, they've got them, so that's theirs. That's theirs. But so what they were doing at that time is they were pumping the water out of here and then down here. They were picking it up where it's blocked, and running hoses on out to the creek as an outfall.
It's just weird. Why would they dig this if it didn't? I mean, it must have
This-
connected. It functioned at one
this-
time.
It did.
This was dug before there was
Yeah.
was any houses
Yeah.
for 5 miles. There were no.
So
there was-
it must have drained something. And how come nobody complained when somebody threw a driveway across and it didn't?
I don't know, but what it wasn't dug illegally in the
Well,
first place.
Somebody went to a lot of
It
trouble
never
to do
drained.
this.
Did the
It
city do
drains
this?
something.
Did the
It
city do
drains
this
something.
walkway?
It's
Maybe
just
during-
in
The
the major
thing is that,
events.
I went in there, it's very good soil.
goes
So
and
whatever
stops
goes
and
in
starts
there,
and
it
stops and
percolates very
Your
quickly
normal
to the
storm.
ground.
You gotta
In normal
remember,
storms.
Hurricane Charlotte in 2004, the water level came up over the grass out there in the creek. I mean, it was that was the highest I ever seen.
Oh yeah, it was up underneath Dodrell's house.
Right.
But something else I was going to mention is that, down in that basin that doesn't go anywhere, that was damp and wet. You go over here and dig a hole, you can go down 20 feet and all you'll hit is butter sand down there.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different drainage thing.
And I think
that will absorb water a whole lot
This
better.
one, this one has some very good soil too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You come up onto the sand ridge here, and an easement over there with a retention area in there might do a whole lot better than one down over here.
Right. And that is from Santa Monica, from what I understand, Santa Monica down to this first house and back again. There is a city easement in it.
It's just back,
Well,
back this way.
Back, yeah. And that is this portion of it here, Santa Monica South. That's this. Plus, there's this area up here that they call dry retention. From Santa Monica North, there's available room for retention that's not being used. Both of these are not being used. And like Lee said,
Isn't there a
might
canal?
be the soil.
Isn't there a canal along?
Further up.
Up to it, yeah, but it doesn't,
how far down does it
at some
come?
point, I'm not even sure.
I think it's just
It
past
curves
Cove
back or
Court,
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
comes back in or something.
Cuts
No,
back
it comes
in.
back down here, but curves back in. This, I don't think there's any ditch, there's nothing in there. And like Lee said, it is probably different sand, because we are on
Yeah, 'cause that
Drive
gentleman
all at the
there-
end, and we have got, that water just goes through it.
That gentleman accesses his garage, and the property owner in that first house,
Yes,
right there,
right.
right off of Spruce Creek Road.
Right.
So there isn't nothing,
There
there's
is
not a
nothing.
ditch there.
No.
Not sure why they left that. I don't know why that's there.
The
Oh wait,
retention pond.
The retention.
not part of ours.
I know, right.
Okay, but that's what
But
the
this-
council members have been told, and that's what they voted.
Well, it still could be, but it's not one I'm aware of.
So it's this portion here, so you don't even have an application from them to run anything down to the creek.
Yeah, that's what's in house now. That's what's shown on your plan. Is that
Okay.
2 linear ponds? That's our
We're
project.
talking about this area that they already have the retention area and to
That's
run the
here,
pipe down to
Okay,
the
so
creek
that
from
that
it.
is on the,
And not the
That's the
the
project
property
we've got
they're
now.
talking about
right
purchasing.
here, plus running a pipe down all the way through that property.
So at some
That's what's in
point,
now.
they have to cross over the road.
Yeah, it is coming across.
Where will
there.
they do that?
Where the ditch functions. Bottom of that pond, I guess, right? No, they pipe it